T06 here, so with that I'll have Mr. Tom O'Neill stop up.
Thank you.
With passages.
Passages.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you. My name is Tom O'Neill. I'm the President and CEO of Passages. And let me introduce, if I can, a couple of other people who are here with us today. Jim Fleck is here. Jim is former mayor, as all of you know, of Columbia City. And for the past about 14, 15 months, we've had a task force that's been involved in working with us on some fundraising that we've done for the former Lundberg Medical Office building. We purchased that building in March of 11. And Jim has chaired that task force. Kay Fleck, who is my predecessor, serves on that task force. John Lefevre serves on the task force, Bill Tucker, and Tim Doolin. So we've had good community representation. They've been invaluable to the successes that we've had to date. Sitting to Jim's right is Dave Lehman. Dave is the Passages Vice President of Finance. And to his right is Dick Buchanan. And Dick has been involved in various things with Passages for a number of years and currently serves on one of our housing boards. And also here is Alan Teo, who you know. Alan is the director of EDC and also serves as a Passages board member. And looking in the audience, I see Doug Brown, who's a former board member. Doug rotated off the board this past fall, but continues to be involved with Passages in a couple of committee efforts that we have going on right now. And in doing this, I think what you get kind of a sense of is the reach of Passages in the community and the people who we impact. Passages has been serving individuals and families with intellectual disabilities in this area since 1954. So next year we'll celebrate 6 decades, 60 years of service to the community. During that time we have impacted literally thousands of lives, whether it's people we've served directly, whether it's new families at the time of diagnosis of their son or daughter, or grandparents who may be living here and have a grandchild with an intellectual disability elsewhere. But we're a value and a resource in the community. This past year we were designated as Jewel of the Community by the Chamber of Commerce, something we're very proud of. We take great pride in promoting and being a vital part of the community as a good corporate citizen. Our impact is social, and that's really the mission that we have. And that mission that established Passages 59 years ago is really the same basic mission that guides us today. And that's serving people with an intellectual disability in the community as much as possible in their own setting or in a setting that promotes their full participation in the community. That social impact that we have, it happens daily. It happens in our day programming. It happens in our group homes. It happens in our waiver homes. It happens in our follow-along services. It happens when we work with families and life planning. That social impact really takes place 24/7, 365. Anytime I wake up during the course of the year, I can wake up and think that Passages is awake someplace and their service is being provided. We also have a housing corporation, that's Whitley Crossings Neighborhood Corporation. And between Passages and Whitley Crossings, we have 43 apartments that we monitor and or own in this community. We have 29 single-family homes. And of those numbers I just gave you, 23% of those are occupied by, or 22% occupied by clients of Passages, and the other 78% occupied by people from the community who qualify for the type of housing that we provide. As I mentioned a minute ago, in March of 11, we purchased the former Lundberg Medical Office building. And at the time that we purchased that building, we also put a down payment on and reserved the right to purchase the remaining land that the old hospital itself sits on. That whole parcel there is comprised of roughly 6 acres. And right now we're set to close on the remaining acreage. We closed on the Lundberg building 2 years ago. We're set to close on the remaining acreage on April 17th with Parkview. And the closing has taken a little bit of time. There were kind of 3 contingencies that were involved in it. The old hospital had to be raised, the land had to be in acceptable condition, and there had to be no further action from IDEM. The other 2 went along fairly well. Getting the no further action from IDEM took a little bit of time, but finally came through about a month or so ago. So everything is clean there. But we paid $285,000 for the Lundberg building, which comes to $14.61 a square foot. When we get the building remodeled, if we have roughly $50 a square foot in it, it'll be about $63 to $68 of what we'll have in the building. And the guesstimates that we had to replace that building today were double that amount of money. We're $135 to $148 a square foot. So even with the remodeling and the purchase, it fares well. Our total investment in that parcel of land, in that northwest quadrant there, will come to someplace between $1.2 and $1.3 million between the remodeling of the building and the purchase of the building. That does not include what happens with the remaining land. And the other 4.5 acres that are there, the lumber building sits on about 1 acre, a little bit over 1. The remaining acreage that's there, we still don't have a determination in terms of what we'll do. Our efforts these last number of months have really been on the lumber building, the remodeling, getting the plans in place, and of course raising the money to do this. There's no debt or mortgage on the building. When we purchased the lumber building, we purchased it with reserve funds. The capital campaign has really been successful to date locally. We've raised over $700,000, and in coming to you today, we're asking the county to consider support in the amount of $25,000 to go towards this project that would be used towards the capital campaign. And as we talk about this, again, I'm being redundant here, but it's both the social and the economic impact that we have on the community. And well, the social impact is big, so too is the economic impact. And I think Alan's going to talk a little bit more about that.
Well, I should open by apologizing for being late today, both to the commissioners as well as to the group that came together. And was very pleased, though, to support the invitation or to support the proposal to the commissioners and to participate in the discussion today. I was actually late because I was coming back from Indianapolis, had meetings this morning. I joined Kathy Hewer, State Representative Hewer, to meet with the Chairman of the Ways and Means Committee, Tim Brown, and then with Lieutenant Governor Sue Belsterman. We talked about our priorities for economic development related legislation this spring, and that we want to look at how economic development supports wealth generation in our communities. Through the Indiana Economic Development Association, I work with actually as president of the association with economic developers in rural areas, urban areas, suburban areas. The common thread is that we all are trying to use the tools we have available to support the future success of our communities. And so, it's not just job creation, it's not just the announcements you see every day, but providing a stable tax base, focusing on quality of life and the well-being of the community. And so, talking about the proposals this morning and thinking about this request, I think they very much go together well in looking at the infrastructure we have in Whitley County and expanding that definition to include passive as a key part of our community infrastructure. And so, very much appropriate to look at the infrastructure, offsite infrastructure item under the CETA plan and how we can support, again, community well-being, quality of life, making sure we have a viable, vibrant Whitley County. And I appreciate that the team put together a handout that lists some of the specifics about the role Passages has in Whitley County. But certainly, any employer can say that they have 85% of their employees are from the county, 80% of their income is from outside of the county, payroll of $4 million a year, 180 plus employees. It's among the largest employers in the county, and certainly the most impactful in a number of different ways. And so, was asked to provide support for the request, and certainly happy to do so. But I think we certainly can speak to the economic impact that Passages has. And again, thinking about Passages as part of the community infrastructure we have and our economic development efforts, we certainly help to facilitate job creation, investment, other activities. But ultimately, our focus is not just on the headlines, but on what are we doing to support a vibrant, growing community. And that means having this infrastructure in place with partners like Passages that are able to represent us well. So, happy to answer any questions or provide any further detail, but I think the details are here.
Thank you, Alan.
Very good.
I think, speaking for myself, I think Whitley County is very fortunate to have Passages. We, with the economic impact that we see here, $4 million payroll every year, 182 jobs provided by Passages. there is a large economic benefit, but not only that, but the social benefit is great also. Tom, do you have anything?
One of your bullet points is 4.5% program growth in the last calendar year. In what area has that been?
Tom, that has been the number of clients who come to, additional clients. who
Based
come
on
to
the
pass-
clients, not
clients.
personnel.
Right, yeah. But last year, and I'm gonna do this out of memory, so I think last year, January 1st, we had 138 employees, January 1st of 2012. And that number now has grown to the number that you see there of 185. And then we have 13 we currently have 13 full-time job openings. Passages is audited by a number of sources. In fact, we're continually audited by a number of sources. I mean, we have public money and I understand that, but we spend a great deal of time being audited. And our accounting, I'm not sure I could say it's flawless, but it's as close to flawless as can be. In the 4.5 years that I've been at Passages, we have not had accounting issues, or we have not had audit issues, and that precedes me by many years before. We've been very conservatively managed, very well managed, and that continues to show up. We're also audited every 3 years and accredited every 3 years by the Council for the Accreditation of Rehabilitation Facilities, which is a CARF, which is an international organization, and will be audited or reaccredited by them this coming fall, probably in November. And the last time we were accredited by them, we got a 3-year accreditation, which is the longest accreditation CARF gives to anyone. We really came through it well. There's a great deal of pride that the community should have in Passages and what's been here. And, you know, I'm going to speak kind of personally for a moment, but I have a 34-year-old son with Down syndrome. And you realize what a Passages is, or what an organization is, when you need that organization for yourself, when it hits people. And disability is very much part of it's part of our society. You know, a certain percent of the people are going to be born with some type of a disability. And I think Alan talked to the completeness of a community being able to care for everyone, all of its citizens. And Passages fulfills a piece of that role in this community. And it's done admirably well doing that for close to 6 decades.
85% of your clients are Whitley County. The other 15% comes from,
In terms of clients, Tom, or in terms of staff?
you say employees
Yeah,
reside.
Employees. Yeah, Allen County, Kosciuszko County, Noble County.
Okay.
Yeah, those contiguous to us.
Okay. Every county have a Passages,
Every county.
or similar to.
Something had something that was similar, kind of the organizations like Passages, where we started, you know, in the mid-1950s. That's when most organizations like Passages really started to take root. And those organizations have continued to grow and evolve in different kinds of ways. But every place has provided some level of services similar to what Passages does.
Mayor, you have been in the government business. Give me a reason why the county should support this with tax money, more or less.
First of all, one of the probably misconceptions is that Passages is a quote not-for-profit. Well, so is the county, so is the city. We all get our money from the same source, and that's some form of tax. Passages happens to be Medicare and Medicaid. About 95%, the rest are from grants or similar types of government programs. So really, it's an extension of a community. It happens to be operations are funded by a different form of government, in this case, the federal government, and then it passes down through. The impact of a quality program is so significant that we can't we can't define it in terms of dollars and cents, Tom, but for instance, each of these clients, let's assume 100. What's not included in there are the medical needs. And I heard as I walked in here, you were talking about the medical needs of inmates, all right? Well, the medical needs here, that's not even part of the numbers that you have. That money also is spent locally. So you have, the ripples go out with respect to the numbers of people who are financially impacted by an organization that provides these kinds of social services. The contractors that they have to hire, and they have to hire multiple contractors. They had, I forget how many housing units it was mentioned, but those have to be repaired. Those have to be continually maintained, and those are local contractors. And so as you know, the groceries that they buy, all of these things just compound, and you find that this, as an employer, yeah, it's one of the bigger employers in the county, but the number of people being local, that money is just continuing to move out. And that's why I say that it is such an important part. Plus, where it's located and what this is basically that it's considered a learning center, no different than for a group of high school students having a high school center, or the new tech. This is just a specific group of people that it's serving. But with times changing, they have to be current with the kinds of services, because that's what's being expected now by those that are being served. I must say, I'm sorry.
No.
You know, I can't say anything less than 10 words.
That's fine. I'd be disappointed if you didn't. Always a very wise
Yeah, but I
man.
lost a bet with my wife. I said I was going to keep my mouth shut.
No. April Fool. Dave, what do you have to say about it?
Well,
If the county supports it.
yeah. Well, when I think about what Passage has done through the years, and primarily in terms of housing, the projects that we've done and those 29 homes that we maintain and keep up to first-class shape really help the appraisal values of the community. 2 of our projects pay over $20,000 in total in property tax, because they're utilizing federal tax credits, and that's the way the program works. So we're giving back to the county. Passages has just been deeply rooted, and in terms of the financials, all this money, our $5 million budget, it recycles itself. It's not just $5 million, it's in wages and contracted services and things like that. It's money that just keeps going around and around and around. And I can't think of a better place to do it than in this county. When Alan, and I had really not thought about this, but when Alan had said that, over 80% of our money comes from outside the county, but yet it's spent in the county. That's powerful. That's not generating your own. That's bringing in other people's money to help make the community a better, to make living and working conditions better for the community. And that's very powerful. I think this is a very reasonable request.
Okay. Good.